Hey everybody, and welcome back to Ethelor Plays Go. Let me just check that the sound is working. Uh, Now it is. Um, Welcome to this Baduk Mindset video about how to review using AI. There are a number of different ways that people have to review with AI, and there are many different ways to skin a cat. But not that you would ever probably want to skin a cat, but anyway. Um, yeah, I have a video or a game here that we can look through together. Basically, my process is that I look through the games on my own first, and then I review it with an AI. The reason why I do that is so that it's like looking at the answers to a test or something. If you haven't worked through the problems yourself a little bit, then it means that when you look at the answers don't really sink in because confirmation bias basically robs you of any and all learning. Um, you probably can still learn a little bit by looking directly, but it's usually best to look through and have comments yourself. Even if you're getting your game reviewed by another person, it's usually a good process to go through. So um, I'll just go through this game that I played right now. There was this one space high pincer that was played, and there are a number of ways how I could respond to that. So I think most complicated variations come from here. We can also consider something like this. Um, I think there are some simpler examples here. So I think like something to that extent. But what I did is I played this attachment, and what I was expecting, or what I don't have a lot of experience with this position, but I think what you usually play is something like this. And then there's a sort of Joseki that starts here. Probably something like this, but I don't remember it terrifically well. No, not connecting here. I think coming down here. Yeah, I don't remember it at all. So I'm gonna have to have a look at that later. So part of this thing here is that we have a Joseki, and I don't remember it well at all. And especially when White played here, I wasn't sure what to play. Um, so I was thinking that this bulge was the right move, but White got this Atari and extend here, which I didn't quite like. And now I have, I mean, text by textbook, this is bad shape. Um, but maybe it was okay, but probably not. I could have considered other moves, like maybe, I think, yeah, Atari here would have made more sense. Um, Maybe something in this direction. Um, so now, for instance, I've looked through this Joseki and I see what I played in the game, and we'll see now when we review later um, what the correct move was. So I played this forcing move here, and then played this one space jump. I was hoping to keep this A group weak, but I don't know. Now the issue is that I have two weak groups, so maybe that wasn't such a good idea. White took a base, and I jumped, aiming for A and B at the same time. So aiming for here and for here, or maybe even coming for C instead. So after thinking about it a little bit, White jumps, I attach. There's some exchanges that we play, and then White turns. And basically now I have to decide whether or not I keep these stones. I decided not to keep those stones because I don't like running with groups in the center. You can consider that if I played something like this, maybe White would continue somehow, but this would probably be just another game. So I could have maybe attached over here, played this attachment, and maybe we could go and I just can't play moves today. So maybe White would have played something along these lines. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, maybe, but I chose this variation instead. And I think turning here was the wrong way. This seems a little bit good for black, but I think white probably decided that they had enough, and so they just defended this way anyway. Looking at the rank graph, just quickly before starting this review, I see that white just absolutely creamed me. So there's just... so maybe white's so far ahead that they just say that's enough. I'm going to try and put some pressure on these two stones here. I wonder if instead it probably would have been better just to play these two moves over here. But anyway, this is what I chose, and white played this attachment, gaining some thickness and kind of counterattacking this stone here, which I think was quite an interesting strategy. I tried to jump out, white jumps out, and then I played this shoulder hit, and I kind of got what I wanted. I wanted to keep white low. I was hoping white might extend like this, and maybe there'd be some kind of shortage of liberties. but in retrospect, connecting here was great. I could connect here as well, and maybe I should have. White might slide, and then maybe I can continue over here or something to that extent. Yeah, so here I think I got a little bit greedy. I somehow felt like there was a lot of weaknesses. This is like the third game I played today, so I'm also a little bit tired. I'm not reading as much, and I also wasn't recording, so I noticed that when I don't record, I don't think nearly as thoroughly as than when I am recording. But I felt like there were a lot of cutting points. So what I did is I played this Hane, and then this cut, and then trying to wedge the stone in here, which I think is quite an interesting idea. But the issue, I think, is that white can capture just like that. Um, and now I need to worry about the inside stones. So maybe I have to live in this way. And then, yeah, this could still be good for white. So I think I got a little bit greedy. If worse comes to worse, I can probably just play something like this, which is probably what I should have played. Let's see. Yeah, so I couldn't even block over here because there was this double Atari, so my shape was a little bit thin. I made one exchange, and then, yeah, I continued over here because this is quite painful. And then I continued with taking points here, but if black is behind, then, you know, that probably won't be enough to win the game. White continued with this endgame and played this one. It was quite annoying because I wanted to play this covering, but white can easily escape. I mean, I guess there could be. So this was quite annoying in the game. And I guess you can continue like this. I'm not totally sure, but anyway. Maybe it would have been a good idea just to step back in this way. But at the same time, black is probably losing, so might as well. So I thought that there might be some Aji here, so I try and cut, and try and work some magic, of which I don't have a lot. And somehow when I played here, white ignored me. And I guess these moves are moves you can play. And once again, I felt like white was thin, so I tried this cut. Although it probably would have been better just to respond. I think the crux is that I tried a lot of things in this game and they just weren't really working. And I think the main issue for that is I just wasn't really reading. But I don't think that these are like major mistakes that I have. I think it's just that during this game I was a bit tired, and to be honest, I just wanted a game that I could bust out so I could make this video. Yeah, so I keep Tanukiing all the time. I felt like I could survive, but it was quite painful that white got all these moves here. And I guess here we come to endgame. I think white should even have extended here. Because if white extends like this, black can't do anything, right? And black can't play something like here. Yeah, there's nothing. So I think white should have just extended. They were quite nice to let me play this. And then there's some endgame, but overall, white has just so many points. I'm just so far behind. That means that the game is basically over. So now I've looked through the game once on my own. Now we're ready to have a look at what the AI says. So I'm going to switch quickly to AI Sensei, and I'll see you all in a minute. All right, so here we are on the AI, and let's have a look. One thing that I like about AI Sensei is that it tends not to show a lot of mistakes, so you can focus on your biggest mistakes. But the issue is that here there are many mistakes. So what I'd like to, instead of focusing on the big one, so for instance, what you might do is you might go through the rank graph and say like, okay, well, here I lost a lot of points, or luckily after I lose in the beginning, it seems to stabilize a little bit. But normally it's good, I think, to do like a linear scan through the game, because then you can kind of build a narrative as you go along. And I think as you build a narrative, that helps to understand what the AI is thinking. Whereas if you skip between points, it can be difficult. It can be easy to not understand how it evaluates some group strength, and based on that, it'll be difficult to figure out what's going on in the game. So we played some opening, and I played this attachment. So this is all right, and then this is what the AI expects. So then I think he plays something like this. Yeah, so then this is the move. Then here, here, descending, making this exchange first. And here, connecting Atari, and then playing this move. White plays here, throw in this one, and then I have to play here, capture, capture. So that's Joseki that you'll learn at in Yongsen Dojang. So I went through that just really quickly, just for me to remember. Obviously, you might not go through it as fast, or you might go through all the variations or things like that. I just went through that because I've already done that in the past, even though it hasn't really stuck that well. And yeah, part of the thing is that as you play, you remind yourself over and over again, and that's kind of how you learn. I guess I should make another video on how you learn Joseki, but we'll leave that for another time. But that's not what happened. Black played this one. And then, yeah, as I suspected, Atari, white will descend, block, and then playing something like this, and then white will have to crawl. So this is what I had to play. Um, so what you might do is might try to over here. You can't see it, but it says remember, and you might create like flashcards. I wouldn't. I'm not going to do that right now. Because I already have these as flashcards, which I already do. Um, but yeah, basically that's that. Um, so this Kema that I played here makes sense, and then white pushes a couple of times, and white might consider playing here because it'll give black bad shape. Um, yeah. So what happened was, oh, I see. So this move was a mistake because I can just come back and cover these stones. Um, and then white can try and break out. I might be able to get a move in center here before coming back. So that's pretty interesting. Let's see. So I played this Kame instead, which was slack because it allowed white to come out over here. And then I attached, which was okay. And I should have played this Atari first. And then I shouldn't have extended because apparently this group is heavier than I expected. Yeah, so I play here, white pushes, and then plays over here. Oh, it also thinks this is a mistake. Okay, so I'm interpreting this wrong. So what it wants to do is play this Atari. I don't play the Atari, so white can come up, and then that makes this shape weaker, I see. And then white can strengthen this group. So we leave this for a long time, and you can see that on the win rate graph, it creates all of these mistakes. It's because this move is really big and neither player is really playing it, and that can make when these kinds of things happens, it becomes difficult to interpret the game because the AI will always be looking at the biggest point to play, and if we're always missing the biggest point, then the AI gets frustrated and throws its hands up in frustration and rage. When that happens, what I would recommend doing is having a look at where the average of all of the points are, and if that average moves, that tells you if you're playing mistakes. So during this whole period, we're playing both reasonable moves, basically, which is interesting to me because this to me seems like wrong direction. I expected that white would play something like this, um, and then choosing between these two variations, basically. Um, or what you can also do is you can see it's very, very small, but you can see the amount of points that white is winning by. And you can use the average of that over time to see if you're making mistakes as well. So here we're all playing pretty reasonable moves. And then, yeah, here comes my next mistake. So you can see here that it's really bad. White loses more points. So basically, I shouldn't have played this move. What you might also do is make this exchange and then see where the AI plays next. So let's see, it's thinking a little bit. And yeah, so it doesn't try to cut on the inside. What it might do is it might play this Atari and then come up. Instead of defending like I did in my own analysis, they will just keep going. Which is okay. That's a reasonable way to play. So I was unreasonable, and so that meant that my position was made a lot worse. So now white is not just leading by 10 points, but 20 points, and basically holds that for the rest of the game. Not really. Also gains another 10 points in endgame. So let's see. Oh, this game is a really difficult one to analyze because of this one mistake. That's quite annoying. Um, but yeah, given that this one is such a messy one to review, I don't think I'll continue with this one. I think I kind of knew that I was behind at this point, because things had gone really badly in this Joseki for me. So normally it's not the case that Joseki will decide the game for you, but it seemed here it was quite important, and I got into trouble playing a Joseki that I didn't understand, and this is what happens. But that's how you gain experience, so that's okay. Um, yeah, so from here we both basically play reasonably until the end of the game, which is quite interesting because there were quite some changes, and it seems that all of those tanukis and all of that were generally okay. I guess maybe not. I guess it's only because the win rate graph is so noisy, and White's already winning by so much that it's difficult to really tell. Um, but yeah, basically what I would do is I would note this on another SGF file, and then note down all the things that I remarked from the game. Let me switch over to KaTrain quickly, and I can demonstrate how I review with that as well. All right, so here we are on KaTrain. Let me just check that the sound is working. Yep, seems to be working. So here we got a very similar picture where, once again, played over here, and it expects this move. And then, once again, this Joseki, da 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 here, here. So yeah, good to just play it a couple of times to remember it. Um, but of course, it's good to go through the variations. So like, why do you play this move, or this move order, or whatever. Um, so let's have a look. Here, once again, we have the similar issue. Let's see, can you see the cursor? You actually can't see the cursor. But here we had this issue about going up and down in win rates. Um, Once again, because we're missing this move. So I guess it's one of the bigger points. So let's see. I'm wondering if maybe... No, I checked. It is still quite a problem. So yeah, once again, we can try and cover here. KaTrain will show a lot of the same things because it's using Katago, which is also what AI Sensei uses. So now what needs to be done is I need to play Atari and over here, because otherwise, if I extend, White can play this, and Black shape is weaker. White can even poke and mate before coming out, which is quite interesting. But yeah, we both missed this. And then, yeah, we have this issue again. Let me see. There might be an issue where there might be a way to exclude it. I guess not. I mean, there is this set region of interest, but it's not. I was hoping I could like exclude a move or something like that. But yeah, so it's the same kind of thing. So I was kind of okay until here, and then once again, I shouldn't have played this cut here. So I kind of believe that White was thin when that's not true. And really, what I should have done is I should have read that if there was actually a weakness here. And I mean, there was a bit of a weakness, but the issue is that it meant that White was able to bleed into my territory a little bit. I thought that the trade would be good for Black, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And then things are kind of even again until over here. So this was a mistake by White, it seems. Because I can play this move, that was quite nice. And then White could jump, Black could connect, which is what happened. And then, yeah, this would have even been more forcing. So this didn't put a lot of pressure on Black. And then let's say we make this exchange. Then what I should have done next is maybe played here. I was thinking White would connect, and then, yeah, Black could push through like this. But then White can play over here. I guess it makes sense that White is still ahead, because it's not like, you know, I don't think that Black can really come back into the game. But yeah, so that was something that happened. That was quite good for Black. But other than that, let's see, what other mistakes were there? Over here? Yeah, so this Tanuki wasn't good. I should have just extended over here. So that wasn't good. Then the win rate goes up again. Let's see, why is that? Right, so white played this move, which I felt was a bit slow, and then also played this one. No, that wasn't the slow move. This was the slow move, interestingly. Ah, you can play over here, connect, and connect this way, and then white can keep more points like that. Um, but yeah, other than the end game, I lost this game pretty badly. So yeah, that's basically how I approach reviewing. This one's a bit haphazard because I think I played this game very fast, and there were some details that both of us didn't know. But at the same time, there are some learnings that to come from this. So I'm gonna quickly move to the database that I started, and I'm gonna explain what I'm doing with that. So I'll be right back. All right, so now for the final part of this video is what I call FBase, which is basically going to be a spreadsheet filled with my mistakes. So what you can see here is I have a date, um, and I have opponents, game IDs for counting and uniquely identifying the game. Um, then there was the color that I played, who reviewed the game. So for instance, Simon AI means just me with an AI, but for instance, there might be other people who review my games. So if that's the case, I'll make sure to say who it is. And then I say what move number it was so I can find the game later, or find the move later if I need to reference back to some examples. Here, there are links to AI Sensei, just so I can have a look at the SGF. I also say what server I played on. So and then for every game, I note down all the major mistakes. So you don't have to list every mistake. I think like the idea is that for every game that you play, you have a couple of major mistakes that you want to remember for the future. I mentioned if I win or if I lose. Obviously, there would be a bias in in this because I'm probably only going to make records for if I lose. But I think there are some games where I win and I might still want to record the mistakes that I make. They might still be interesting. Um, so I mentioned here the mistake type, and I add some tags to maybe I should call it skill tags. Um, so I put in like the major mistake. So for instance, in this game, we had a Joseki mistake, and so I added the tags for the kind of Joseki it was, and what kind of a shape what kind of a mistake it was. So here I think it was issue with like shape or like reading that kind of thing. Meanwhile, there was a slack play where I missed Suji. There was some thin play. That was a shape issue as well. Obviously, like the way how you categorize it is a bit up to you. It's all a bit how do you say up for you can just do build this how you like. Um, and I had an overplay at the end. And the issue there, I think, was just patience, where I didn't like read it out. So it's not really a reading problem because it's not that I couldn't read it. It's just that I didn't because I was just a bit impatient. So here I put patience. So what I have as well is here I have my number of games and mistakes. So here I've recorded 7 mistakes so far for 3 games. And maybe after I have, say, 50 games, and I might look through this again and I might analyze the data, and then I'll present it to all of you at home or wherever you are at the moment. And right now I'm keeping a log of the mistake types. And then I hope to like build this and then maybe like consolidate this over time. Um, so it's just that I've seen recently that strong players are people who improve a lot. They're people who take care of what mistakes they make, and then when they notice a pattern for what kind of mistakes to do frequently, they try to remedy that. And so this is me trying that out because to improve I'll try anything. So yeah, that's basically how I review with AI. Sorry that it wasn't the best game to review, but I hope that you kind of get the point. Obviously, there's more discussion to be had about like the pros and cons of using AI to review versus teachers, and at what strength you should do it, that kind of thing. I might make other videos about that. But for now, I just wanted to have this video just show kind of the process that I go through. So that's what I'm doing between my games and the reviews when you watch the Athlore Plays Go series. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and I hope this video was useful for you. If you like this kind of content, please comment, rate, comment, subscribe, all the stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.